A rare October event in the mountains of East Tennessee today, snow. This is video of the Cherahalla Skyway sent to us from Channel 3 viewer Don Croft. Now, higher elevations in the Tennessee Valley also experienced anywhere from light flurries to trace amounts of snowfall today. Good evening, I'm Cameron Taylor here with meteorologist Nick Austin. And Nick, certainly cold here in the Tennessee Valley.
Cold, flurries here and there in the valleys, but all the accumulating snow, which was, a good dusting, maybe half an inch or so, and a lot of the high elevations up in the Smokies. So it didn't stick to the ground here. The ground was just a little too warm, but it has been really cold. And this is a nice look outside, our live downtown Holiday Inn camera. Finally seeing some blue sky. Unfortunately, just a bit.
All right, thanks, Nick. We'll see you in a few minutes. Temperatures are certainly dropping, and many people are turning on the heat and pulling out the space heaters for the very first time. And it's important to remember space heaters can be dangerous if not used properly. Energy.gov says there are more than 25,000 portable heater-related fires per year nationwide. Of those, 6,000 are seen by a hospital for burn injuries. Ace Hardware's manager says safety is a priority.
Most of them have a built-in cutoff, so if they ever get tipped over or knocked over or anything like that, they cut themselves off. But just always be mindful of where it's at and what's in front of it.
Now, if you're buying a heater this season, look for the proper size here for the room you want to heat. Keep it away from foot traffic and keep items at least 3 feet away from the heater. You can find more tips on WRCBTV.com and inside the WRCB app. And as Nick just mentioned, tonight we'll be expecting freeze warnings in the area. Typically, the Salvation Army will open its doors to provide shelter for anyone in need when temperatures are 32 degrees or below. So far, the shelter has extended its daytime hours today. However, they have not yet announced opening through the night. The shelter is in need of several items to get prepared for winter.
Right. Well, I think because it's been so warm, we haven't had the need for gloves and scarves and coats. And, I don't know about you, I had to dig my coat out of the closet. We just haven't had to use them. And so folks haven't been thinking along those lines as far as donations. And so it's real important.
The Salvation Army is in need of male winter items, including long johns, and George encourages folks at home to go through their closets, and if there's something they no longer need, to donate those items. Tonight, after the game, reporter Casey Freeman looks into what conditions caused the shelter to open. We now know the name of the man that police say led them on a chase through Catoosa and Walker counties last night. Tommy Dean was arrested on several charges in Catoosa County, including fleeing, reckless driving, and speeding. We're told charges from last night's pursuit are pending for Dean in Walker County. From music to painting murals, people are celebrating Chattanooga in a new way during the city's first ever city celebration in Seclovia in East Chattanooga. Channel 3's Caitlin Chastain gives us a look inside the festivities.
We have all this space, so look at the streets in a different way.
Looking at buildings, art, and green space from a different perspective. In an area you likely already know about, East Chattanooga.
A lot of people know it. They drive through it as fast as they can. They get to the other side. They never stop and actually see the sights.
But at this city celebration, organizers hope to change that by hosting 5 block parties throughout the area, allowing people to explore the city from a new perspective while meeting new people.
It's shining a spotlight on a different side of Chattanooga. Most people think of Chattanooga, they think of downtown and the aquarium, and all those are great things, and we're happy to promote those. But it's nice to see another side of the city.
Organizer Shannon Burke says he hopes to highlight the many cultures that fill the homes in the scenic city.
There's all kinds of diversity in Chattanooga that people don't realize. A lot of languages being spoken over here, different styles of music and dance, and so we hope to highlight that with this festival.
And visiting all 5 block parties requires no car, just a little energy. Miles of roadways closed to traffic so people could walk or bike from one block party to another safely.
It's important to think outside the norm of just driving your car every day, going to your work, sitting in traffic. It's important to meet your neighbors in a way that you wouldn't otherwise do.
In Chattanooga, Caitlin Chastain, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
And organizers say they hope to have the city celebration in block party every year. The head of Puerto Rico's power company announced late today that the controversial contract with a Montana company will be canceled after ongoing work ends. Puerto Rico's governor had demanded that the board of the power company cancel the $300 million contract with Whitefish Energy, which is helping restore power to the hurricane-battered island. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez reports from San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico's Governor Ricardo Rosselló says he wants to pull the plug on this controversial contract with Whitefish Energy, up to $300 million to help restore part of the power grid here in Puerto Rico, but it had drawn intense scrutiny in recent days. It was facing audits and multiple congressional investigations. But again, Governor Rosselló now saying that it's become a distraction and that he has asked the board of the power authority here to cancel that contract. The CEO of Whitefish Energy, he seemed to not be expecting this at all. He had said that he planned to be in Puerto Rico for as long as it takes. He said his company had already been paid between $8 and $10 million for the work it's performed here, that it had more than 350 workers here on the island and hoped to increase that to more than 500. But again, Puerto Rico's governor now says he wants that contract terminated. It's up to the board of PREPA to decide whether that will in fact happen. Meanwhile, about 70% of Puerto Rico remains without power. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, San Juan, Puerto Rico.
The head of Puerto Rico's power agency said cancellation of the Whitefish contract will delay work by a couple of months while the government finds new companies to help restore power to the island. Ahead here on Eyewitness News at 6, the California wine industry isn't the only business suffering from the recent wildfires, and families in one California town celebrated Halloween early by using their vehicles as hubs for trick-or-treaters who've lost their homes to recent wildfires.
Skies are clearing, winds will be light overnight, and we'll have a hard freeze across the Tennessee Valley later on tonight. I'll have details and a look at your 7-day forecast coming up.
Welcome back. Families in Loma Rica, California are not letting recent wildfire destruction ruin their Halloween festivities. Now, instead of decorating houses, they're decorating vehicles, all in the name of Trunk or Treat. Kevin Oliver has more on the Fall Festival.
Parents lined up their decorated cars with their trunks opened and tailgates dropped, while Yuba County's youngest fire victims lined up for Halloween treats. Nearly 3 dozen school children from Loma Rica lost their homes, and everyone was evacuated due to the October firestorm. They returned to the school tonight to do what kids do this time of year: dress up.
You get to see your friends and get candy.
The fire may be out, but it's still disrupted everything. Some families are still living in hotels or with relatives. Others live with reminders of the frightening ordeal. But this gave the children of this Northern California community something to look forward to.
When we evacuated, we went and looked, and this was one that I found that fit me, the costume, and I thought it was really cute.
Brings a tear to my eye to see all the kids out.
The principal said they briefly considered canceling the fall event, but only briefly.
We questioned, do we want to go forward with this event in light of the fires and the devastation that our families felt? But I think if you look around, it was the right decision.
With carnival games, food and drinks, this town that has seen so much sadness found laughter and smiles.
We just wanted to uplift everybody after the fire and do something fun for the kids to be back to normal.
In the struggle to return things to normal, the adults are learning from the children.
They've shown us incredible resilience, and I stand and look at all of these kids here tonight and thrilled.
Now is Kevin Oliver reporting. While California wineries are recovering from Northern California's wildfires, there's another industry that's taking a big hit from the natural disaster: marijuana. Some cannabis growers are still reeling from the fires just months before the legalization of recreational marijuana in the state. Now, a small percentage of pot farmers in California lost everything in the wildfires. Unlike wine grapes, which were mostly harvested, marijuana was at the end of the growing season, which meant most of the crops were still out. And because marijuana is still illegal on a federal level, farmers cannot get crop insurance. Next here on Eyewitness News at 6, meteorologist Nick Austin will have a look at your Sunday night forecast and will tell us just how cold it's expected to get.
This is some beautiful Twitter video. This is from Kathy Trumbull, and a little bit of light snow falling earlier today along Foothills Parkway. This was taken up near Townsend, Tennessee. up in the Smokies. Just a beautiful video here. We got so many videos and pictures from a lot of you showing snowfall up in the Smokies today. A lot of you reported you saw some flurries or a little bit of sleet in some of the valleys, including here in Chattanooga earlier today as well, but things are clear. And then later on in the week from Wednesday forward, we'll just have a chance for off and on showers each day. It won't be a lot of widespread or heavy rain, but just off and on rain here and there. But we could be in the low 70s for high temperatures by later in the week. Hard to believe after today.
Yeah.
And usually we don't see the first hard freeze across the area until maybe about November 4th, so we're several days ahead of schedule. Yeah. So it's a little unusual for this time of the year.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Nick.
You bet.
All right. 5 years ago today, Superstorm Sandy made landfall on the East Coast. The storm claimed dozens of lives and caused billions of dollars in damage. Now another storm threatens the region. Here's NBC's Dan Scheneman.
A powerful storm is bearing down on the East Coast. Forecasters warn up to 4 inches of rain could fall on the region, and wind gusts could reach up to 70 miles per hour.
Those are significant conditions. It's certainly not to be underestimated. People need to take it very seriously.
On Long Island, first responders spent the day getting ready. Their biggest concern, wind.
The wind takes down power lines, trees, could affect houses.
The severe weather is striking on the 5th anniversary of Superstorm Sandy, which caused billions of dollars worth of damage up and down the East Coast.
Sandy was hard, and today seems like a fitting day for that. Hopefully it won't be as bad.
Those who remember Sandy hope this latest storm doesn't pack the same punch. Dan Scheneman, NBC News.
Up next in sports, the Florida Gators are now looking for a new head football coach. Jill will have the latest from Gainesville. Plus, the Vols' struggles continue this weekend in Kentucky as more questions about head coach Butch Jones's future are raised. Stay with us. Sports is next.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome into sports. We'll begin with some breaking news out of Gainesville this afternoon, where Florida head football coach Jim McElwain is officially out. The University of Florida released a statement just moments ago that they have mutually agreed to part ways with McElwain. The parties are still negotiating his $12.5 million buyout. There are also reports that the school was discussing whether it could fire him with cause after the head coach made false claims last week about his family and players receiving death threats. Athletic Director Scott Strickland named defensive coordinator Randy Shannon the team's interim head coach for the final 4 games. The news, of course, follows Florida's blowout loss to Georgia on Saturday, marking one of the most lopsided losses for the Gators in series history. The Bulldogs' 42-7 win moved them up 1 spot in the AP poll today to now number 2 in the country. Alabama and Georgia give the SEC.
Certainly interesting right there, and the SEC's been interesting today, too.
Oh, man, busy day for college football for Sunday. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Nick, it's going to get even colder tonight, but there is some good news on the way, luckily.
There is, if you didn't like today. I mean, it's going to be much brighter tomorrow. We'll have sunshine, and it'll get a little warmer through the week. But tonight, hard freeze warning for our viewing area. This is all of East Tennessee over to Murphy, across all of North Georgia. Hard freeze, we usually don't see this until around the 4th of November, is when on average we see our first hard freeze. So it's several days sooner than we would expect. And to the west of us, there'll be a lot of frost from Middle Tennessee and the Nashville metro area down into Alabama, too. So a cold night ahead. Right now, 43 degrees. By midnight, we'll be at around 36 with mostly clear skies through the evening. And then we're up to 62 tomorrow and then 60 on Halloween afternoon.
All right.
Not bad.
We'll be warming up soon. All right, thanks, Nick. Well, 2 red panda babies made their debut at the Philadelphia Zoo this week. Yeah, take a look right there. 2 were hanging out and napping in a tree on the big day, but zoo goers were happy to see them. The 2 male cubs were born to Mom Spark in June, and this is the 2nd successful birth of red pandas at the zoo. So pretty neat right there. Yeah, always got to love those animal videos. All right, that's it for us. We'll see you right back here after the game.